My paper is a close study of two groups that were founded by French-Algerian, I'll talk more specifically about their backgrounds, it's a little complicated, but by French-Algerian women who were both intending to call attention to and combat violence against Arab Muslim women in the French Republic. So we have Ni Putes Ni Soumises, or NPNS is how I will refer to them in the presentation, and the Mouvement des Indigenes de la République, or MIR is how I'll be referring to them. Ni Putes Ni Soumises is often translated into neither whores nor submissive, or neither whores nor doormats, and this name is meant to reject a double critique placed on these women, on the one hand by Arab communities for being too French and therefore too sexual, and on the other by the Republic for being the oppressed puppets of Arab men. And Le Mouvement des Indigenes de la République literally translates to the natives of the Republic movement, but the term natives in English doesn't accurately convey the historical significance of indigène in French, which refers to a native code called the Code de l'Indigénat. And this code was French legislation passed in 1881 during French colonization of Algeria to codify the inferiority of the empire's Arab subjects, listing 33 infractions with extreme punishments. So MIR, which largely comprises the descendants of these indigènes, or these natives, uses this term in a contemporary context to confront the myth of an egalitarian republic. Despite these groups' common goal to contest violence against Arab Muslim women, they have come to offer opposing responses, often engaging in intense critique with one another. My paper aims to better understand this divergence, specifically by exploring their relations to Arab men, their feminist methodologies, and the role of the French state in silencing or co-opting their projects. This is Fidela Amara, who founded NPNS in 2003 in response to rising physical violence against Arab women in the suburbs of large cities, where high numbers of specifically North African communities, along with other immigrants, have consolidated since the end of World War I. In one of these suburbs, in October 2002, a young man burned alive an 18-year-old Arab Muslim woman named Sohan Benzian in the basement of a housing project. In the wake of this highly mediatized murder, Amara led a march through France in February 2003 that ended with a demonstration of 30,000 people, according to the NPNS website. After the march, Amara and her colleagues officially formed the association NPNS, with the goal of protecting women and their fundamental rights through free anonymous aid to victims of violence, as well as school-based preventive interventions. Amara remained the president of NPNS until 2007, when she made the controversial decision to accept the position of junior minister for foreign policy for then-President Nicolas Sarkozy, who was notorious for his openly racist comments. Although Amara's decision caused a rift in NPNS due to the administration's evidently anti-immigrant stance, NPNS has been given much media attention and public valorization, which will be discussed later in the presentation as a form of state co-optation and a point of critique by MIR. And here we have Horia Boutalja, who founded MIR in 2005, just a year after a law was passed that banned ostentatious religious signs in public schools in France, with the veil being a clear target of this legislation. Boutalja decried this policing of Muslim girls' bodies while also critiquing the parallel stigmatization of Muslim men. She co-wrote an appeal titled "We Are the Natives, or the Indigènes of the Republic," to call out French discrimination against, quote, people from the colonies, end quote, and their descendants. The document also promoted a march for May 8th, a hypercharged date commemorating both the end of World War II as well as the massacre of tens of thousands of Algerian Arabs by the French, military in Sétif, Algeria, again to challenge the myth of the Republic as a champion of equality. Within 1 month, more than 1,000 people had signed the document. MIR militants officially met up for the first time in June 2005, and in 2010 they created a political party called the Natives of the Republic Party, or PIR. According to their website, PIR is for anyone who wants to fight against racial inequalities that reduce blacks, Arabs, and Muslims to the native status of the old colonies. So again, referring to the French Empire's colonial subjects. The effectiveness or lack thereof of this political party will also be discussed later on. So both NPNS and MIR initially rejected mainstream French feminism, dubbed nativist feminism by Anna Kemp. Nativist feminism constructs a binary between modern, emancipated, secular French women and their veiled, supposedly oppressed Muslim counterparts, who can only aspire to the French ideals of gender equality by abandoning their cultures and communities for the Republique, which is seen as an ideal site for emancipation. With Muslim women situated as submissive non-agents within the nativist feminist framework, Muslim men then become the sole perpetrators of violence against these women. Instead, both NPNS and MIR prioritized racial solidarity with Arab men, therefore functioning within an intersectional framework. Amara initially portrayed violence against Arab women in the suburbs as a result of the deteriorating economic conditions of Arab men, as noted in her semi-autobiography, Breaking the Silence, and NPNS also explicitly critiqued French nativist feminism on the basis that it was a fight against their men or a war of the sexes. MIR has likewise spoken on the topic of solidarity between Arab men and women, in the suburbs specifically, noting that any denunciation of the former by the latter is a maneuver that breaks down solidarity between racialized men and women. While both groups initially worked against nativist feminism, NPNS and MIR came to defend Arab men to varying degrees. NPNS has stated that it explicitly defends only those men who are potential allies and who respect women. At the forefront is a project that places Arab Muslim women at the center, which, while clearly a significant task, also ignores the structural issues that both men and women in the suburbs endure. To demonstrate this move towards a nativist feminism that is closely affiliated with the Republique, NPNS affirms in an online text from 2006 that, quote, feminism is a single fight regardless of the diverse context, and that their feminism is capable of giving concrete and efficient responses to the most pressing and difficult situations, end quote. These concrete and efficient responses include distributing guidebooks to men on respecting women and calling for increased community policing. Both of these tactics demonstrate NPNS's ties to carceral feminism as well, as they take away attention from socioeconomic structures that contribute to such violence and instead place blame on individuals with deviant behavior. In stark contrast, MIR's intersectional politics defend all racialized men, regardless of their relation to women or sexism. Pushing directly against a Republican discourse, MIR's use of the term racialized men emphasizes the marginalized groups that the French Republic willfully ignores and delegitimizes in the name of national unity. Labeling itself feminist from the beginning, MIR has defined itself as advocating, quote, a paradoxical feminism of solidarity with men, end quote. The movement denounces white feminism specifically, arguing that white feminists obscure the struggles of racialized women and men because the formers don't have to take race into account on their path to liberation. This approach indeed differs from NPNS, as Amara notes in her autobiography that she used white feminist texts to teach women in the suburbs about their own emancipation. Drawing on such premises, NPNS has criticized MIR for taking a position that defends all men in the suburbs at the expense of women's issues. In a text called The Scum of the Republic, co-written by Amara in 2006, she calls into question the tactics of MIR, critiquing their supposed refusal to address, quote, homegrown male violence against women, end quote. However, NPNS's reliance on the Republic and its reproduction of racism toward Arab men has likewise garnered much criticism. The organization's call for Republican legislation to save Arab Muslim women in the suburbs rests on the pathologization of Arab men on the basis of their culture and on Islam. This reinforces the binary between an inherently regressive other and a progressive egalitarian republic, as well as victimizing Arab men and victimized Arab women. The only solution within the NPNS framework is for these women to overcome this victimization is to leave the suburbs and find protection under the Republic. Boutelja provides an obvious counterpoint to the solution, noting that leaving isn't an option for everyone, and not everyone wants to cut ties with their parents, especially not for the very Republic that construes these women as outsiders to France. Thus, while NPNS depends on the Republic to improve the lives of women in the suburbs, MIR was working against a Republican script. These differing approaches are directly connected to the ensuing mediation and co-optation of NPNS, as well as the intense backlash directed towards Mir. Amara's personal experience has been used to legitimize Muslim culture as being inherently sexist and thus in need of intense policing from the Republic. Her autobiography was awarded the Political Book Prize in 2004 by the National Assembly, at least in part due to Amara's claims that testify to a racialized sexual violence that depicts Arab men as the culprits of violence against Muslim Arab women. Additionally, Amara's entrance into Sarkozy's administration further demonstrates a co-optation of Amara's cause by a party that had much to gain from a native informant. While NPNS has found much support in the mainstream, Mir has been a target of critique, largely due to the latter's clear rejection of the Republic and its supposed equality. Mir's denunciation of representative institutions as instruments used to co-opt, assimilate, and clientelize political activists has distanced the political party from lobbies, social movements, and other political parties, so it's not surprising that the corresponding political party has had difficulty in holding much weight at the legislative level, for which the movement has also been criticized. While their website is a lively forum for debate, the efficiency of the organization and its corresponding political party in being able to make any tangible changes in the lives of those it is supposed to represent have been called into question. Of course, the opposing political projects of NPNS and Mir demonstrate only two responses to both sexualized and racialized violence against Arab Muslim women in France. Amara and the NPNS organization advocate for Republican values of gender equality and secularism. They have accordingly been criticized for essentializing Arab Muslim men and women along a victimizer-victim binary, for advocating carceral tactics to effect change, and for Amara's affiliation with a political party that is evidently anti-immigrant. Boutelja and Mir, on the other hand, relentlessly critique the Republic for its perpetuation of colonial tropes that essentialize Arab men as aggressors and Arab women as victims. However, the effectiveness of the movement has been questioned due to its unstable identity and inability to bring about real change at the political level. The analysis of these starkly contrasting groups has also made apparent the Republic's stakes in movements that have been founded and populated by minorities. While Mir has been delegitimized by the state for connecting race, gender, and colonialism in a way that challenges the Republic, NPNS has been valorized for its prioritization of women's issues as an extension of the state's supposed values of secularism and equality.